So congrats on your pulls from Storm King's Thunder, and from our first box out of the brick of Ravnica. Oh, shut up and take my money. Oh no. Oh no. Dos más.
Dos más.
Dos más. Spanish said in a beautiful German accent. Eins. Zwei. And we'll pop these open. Now, while we're doing this, for all of you out there, make sure that you open up your player's handbooks. Yep, Gilded. Plunder Loot is sponsoring another 2 boxes. And there's the sound of a box being opened. Make sure you have your player's handbook open to Chapter 4, which is going to be backgrounds, as we are going to be developing another random character, and we'll be looking at the backgrounds first. And then we're going to be applying the Quartermaster considerations that are found in the Unearthed Arcana of the Sea and Ships. But we'll have a little bit of fun and crack some boxes here real quick, huh? Shall we? Okay, first up is a Mind Drinker Vampire. On a flying stand, a Mind Drinker Vampire. Or, instead, you can get a Blister Coil Weird. A Blister Coil Weird. After that is a Crawl Winged Warrior. A Crawl Winged Warrior. Very green, but as you can see, he has some active camo here because of my green filter. Or lastly, Mr. Plunder Loot. Plunder Tater Salad Loot. You can choose to pick up a Sphinx of Judgment. A Sphinx of Judgment. It does have that lovely light blue, but unfortunately, again, it's close to green, so my computer is translating it as such. Which would you like, good sir? That frontline medic is a lot like the ship's surgeon that we made in our last episode. The Sphinx will go nicely with your Gyno Sphinx. Well, there you go. Now we're like Pokemon breeders. Box numero 20. Little D&D ASMR there. I should turn off my green screen. There are so many light blue, yellow, and green miniatures in this set. It just destroys my chroma key. We'll see what we can do, though. Alright. We are going to start our journey with a Wind Drake. A Wind Drake. Next up, I guess we're going straight into the uncommons. We have a Blood Drinker Vampire. A novel concept, I know, but a Blood Drinker Vampire. After that, we come down to a Gruul Ogre. A gruel ogre. Well gilded? I mean, it could happen, right? Milk is full of nutrients, just like blood. I guess it'd be a little awkward to, you know, you go out to your pasture at night and you see someone under the udders of your cows, and they just sort of like look up at you and like hiss before they disappear in the lantern light. Or lastly, we have a rare figure, a galvanic blast seeker. A galvanic blast seeker. That would be a kick butt Sork or Wiz Mini. You want to go for it then? Woo! Into the box it goes. And 3 orphans are seeking adoption. If anyone out there can give them a home. Plunder Loot, congrats on your minis. You got some really cool ones. And you know that I appreciate your all support. For those of you, you know, we come together, you help the channel helps you, and we all have fun in the process. So I'm very grateful for those of you who are stepping up and giving these minis a home. So there, Diadems, there's 6 boxes of Storm Kings left. I will try and get some more in this coming week as well. If I do sell out, I should still be able to get more in. But what I have here is kind of an experiment. All right, we have our handy dandy roll guide. Oh, well, common do I speak it? Diadems, we're going to be here. Don't worry about it. If you want it, we got it. I have some friends in another room playing Smash and whatnot. I'm fine to spend some time with y'all here. Not that I won't play Smash, but I'm here with you now, and let's make this character talk D&D and have fun, right? All right, here's our handy dandy roll guide. With our random number generator, let's roll a percentile to find out if we have a female character, a male character, or a multi-class character, which would cause a reroll. And here we go. 50. We have our first male character in the party. Next up, I'm going to roll a d10, and we're going to determine which of the 9 PHB races this character will be. 2. Another elf. I'm going to re-roll for odds or evens to determine if we have a high elf or a wood elf. Odds. We have another wood elf. That is, unless I roll for an evil character. In which case, pardon, we may have a drow. Let's do that right now. Let's generate 2 percentiles, right? One for the axis of lawful, neutral, chaos, or chaotic, and the other for good, neutral, or evil. At 1732, we are neutral good. Medium-sized creature. And throw it in here real quick. Common and Elven. Alright. The level at which we'll generate this character is going to be... And we do this because when we make the campaign around these characters, we're going to put them all at the same level in consideration. But when we're doing an individual knight's workshop to challenge ourselves to make something, this is what we're going to have. Rolled a 74. That is going to be That's going to be a level 16. Oh, you know what? I think on our last one, I was one column over. Unfortunately, the microphone is directly in the way between my eyeballs and the chart. Should have been a level 10, but shh, it's fine. We'll make a level 16 also. Just don't tell anyone. As I say, broadcasting on the internet to go on YouTube later. Available on VOD for 2 weeks. Anyway. We are going to get, unless it's a fighter, we're going to get 4 chances at a stat bump, in which you get 2 points to 1 stat or 1 point to 2 stats. Or, if your DM allows, you can take a feat. We have 4 available. Let's roll percentile and find out how many of those are going to be stat bumps. We rolled 75. It looks like one of them. We will have 1 feat. Here we go. Now for our background. We know that he's going to be the quartermaster aboard the ship, and that has its own consideration. What was his origin that led him to become the quartermaster? Let's generate a 13-sided die and roll it. 4. An entertainer or a gladiator? I mean, I'll put entertainer. We can go gladiator if we wish. As an entertainer or gladiator, you can roll between 1 or 3 things that you do. Juggle, you're a fire eater, a comedian, a storyteller, you play an instrument, you tumble. So let's roll a d3. We got 3. And now we're going to roll then 3d10 and figure out which 3 things we're good at doing. 3, 3, and 7. I'm going to replace that second 3. 3, 6, and 7. There we go. Our 2 personality traits are going to be number 6 and 8. And our ideal bond and flaw will be 1, 5, and 5. Again, these are just placeholders. We'll crack open the book here shortly and see what it means. For right now, it's not important. All right, Quartermaster. Let's take a look. What does a Quartermaster do? Quartermaster plots the ship's course relying on knowledge of nautical charts and a study of weather and sea conditions. A reliable Quartermaster tends to have a high wisdom score as well as proficiency with navigator's tools and the nature skill. We're going to tack those on to what we get from our background. What class is, or which class will our Quartermaster be? Because we're taking these special roles and into consideration, we are challenging ourselves that, in this case, wisdom is going to, if not be our primary, our highest score, it'll be our second highest score. Just like we did with our Paladin prior. Paladins are strength charisma, and so intelligence is tertiary at best. Probably oftentimes a dump stat. Shh. But we made intelligence her second highest, and she was still a fun character. So let's find out. We're going to roll this big golden D12 and discover which class our Quartermaster will be aboard the ship. You need to do things. How much did you miss? Funny, we got started not too long ago. We were cracking open some boxes of minis before that. He takes care of the ship generally. Fighter, he's the master of arms. We got Quartermasters can also, be the ones to hand out arms or armor, or, might keep track of how many mops and supplies and whatnot. Depending if it's galley stuff, probably the cook. Anyway. 7. Another Wood Elf Paladin. Do we have siblings? Do we have a parent and child? Do we just have friends? Are they strangers who just happen to both be Wood Elf Paladins? Redo it? Nay, Funny Dill. We're going to stick with what we have. Yeah, I mean, it could end up being twins. We'll roll the ages and we'll see what happens. Okay, paladins take one of 3 oaths. 2. Very interesting. Another oath of the ancients paladin. Same person, split personality, says Gilded. Serves 2. So, you know, when they trance, they actually turn into the other person. That could be interesting, huh? And what's the fighting style? There's 4 different kinds. 1, defense. Okay. Elves start at 4'6", wood elves specifically. We're going to add 2d10 and add 11 inches. So we have a 4'17" there we go. 5'5" male wood elf. We're going to take 11. We're going to multiply it by 1d4. So we're going to add 22 pounds to his starting 100. 122 pounds. That's some rookie numbers. We got to crank those up, says Funny. Let's roll a percentile and find out how old he's going to be. We rolled 23, so we have a young adult. Another young adult. Yes, 5'5". That's that. If you, I put down 5'5" here, Gilded. I appreciate that because you know what? I'm sure there's going to be a time where I say that in jest and I actually just put it down. All right, young adult is column 2, cross-referencing that with elves. We're going to roll a percentile and find out how old he is. 46. So he is 146 years old. So maybe not exactly a twin, could still be a slightly older brother. I mean, look, he's only 30 years older than his sister if we want to make them siblings. I mean, in elven terms, that's like Irish twins, right? Can I say that? I mean that with all, you know, in jest and kind of, you know, using some colloquial fantasy terms. Or, you know, some, like, old-timey terms. That's some dark shade right there. Oh, jeez. That's it. I'm off of Twitch. Twitch is banning me. 2018 TOS. I'm not allowed to say that. All right, so we have finished with our random number generation. Why don't we tuck this away and open our books to page... Well, 121 is where the chapter starts, but we're going to Entertainer, so let's skip ahead a little bit. Here we go. Or Gladiator. He could be a gladiator, too. Yeah, come on, Diadems. You know, you've been here long enough, brother. You gotta bring your books. This is class. Skill proficiencies, acrobatics, and performance. Tool proficiencies, a These Guys kit. And 1 type of musical instrument. Of some kind. We'll put question marks. What does he play? Entertainer routines. We randomly rolled. He is proficient in 3 different types. 3, 6, and 7. And that would be a fire eater, an instrumentalist, and a poet. His background feature is by popular demand. So he is going to be popular on the ship, and maybe even in the homes of the sailors, should he ever visit them when, you know, he's on leave or they're on land. And he probably even has some admirers in various ports. Because when the ship docks, he probably goes out to various pubs and performs. Wanted to be a bard but found faith and became a paladin? Yeah, he channels himself differently. I mean, he still casts off charisma, right? We are going to get some equipment, a musical instrument of our choice. So we'll just put instrument. The favor of an admirer. We're going to roll this as a trinket. Trinket number something. What did someone give him? Who kind of might have a crush. A costume. Now, we should think about, what does the costume look like? What does he dress up as? Does he dress up as Sidaria Lakath and moonlights as the ship's medic as well? I mean, or does he have a fire eater costume? Does he go around wearing like a captain, like it's a costume, but he looks like a very pompous captain, and he'll just go about strutting on deck, giving orders on a time and again, in order to bring a little bit of humor to the crew. Now, he's the quartermaster. You know, it's not necessarily his job, but it doesn't mean he still can't do it. El Eskimo, welcome back. It's great to see you. He's a bard. He's a member of a tabernacle choir, and he really loves the song Onward Christian Soldiers. There, see, Pneumonica? Yeah, we're having a great night, Eskimo. I feel like the honest gent with a crow mask and is magical in the instrument. I feel like the honest gent with a crow mask and is magical in the instrument. I don't know if I get that funny, though. By the way, you're one of the best background streams ever. I'm glad. You know what? I take that as a compliment, El Eskimo. Because, look, honestly, what's on screen? I have some PDFs open. And it doesn't detract necessarily. I mean, there might be some cool stuff I could show up here. But I want this to be accessible so that whether you're listening to it on Twitch or you're watching it on YouTube or whatnot, you can do stuff in the background. As we're building these characters, I sincerely hope that even if you're not directly watching, you're still hearing these, these aspects to a character, and the character is coming alive in your mind as we're building the characters step by step, or as we're going through the planning of a campaign step by step. We're exploring a setting. We're creating a magic spell. Because this is supposed to be mentally stimulating. It's supposed to tell a story, right? We're creating something from nothing. We're storytellers here. Even if we're following a book of rules, we're still telling a story. So, Eskimo, I'm glad you said that, because that is one of the ultimate compliments that I can hope to get, is unsolicited someone saying what you just said. Because that's my hope, is that you can follow along. It's giving you something to think about or do. You know, if you're driving, you don't have to watch and feel like you're being left behind in something. If you're doing dishes or you're studying, you're writing a report. Yep, exactly, Pneumonica. And I'm glad that I have that voice. We get the D&D ASMR when I pop open a box. Or if I pumpkin pie M&Ms. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, pumpkin pie M&Ms. I'd say I have a drinking problem, but that was an M&M. ASMR dice stream confirmed. Or you're working. Yep. Diadems is naughty and listens to this broadcast while working, too. Mm. Okay. What's his personality going to be like? Well, this person clearly loves pumpkin pie M&Ms. Eskimo. Pardon. If you have questions on the Ravnica book, you know you can always hop over to our Discord if we're not broadcasting and ask them there, and we'll help you out. I want to make sure, look, whether you got the book through me or not, I'm invested in you as role players. And if you have a question on rules, on content, on something you're even trying to homebrew, myself or the other mentors, you know, we want to step up and help and make sure if you're paying your hard-earned money for a hardcover or for, you know, other supplies and content, I want to make sure that you're getting use out of it and you're enjoying it and you can weave it into whatever it is that you want to do. You listen to this when you can't sleep due to being sick. Oh, well, funny. I hope you get better soon, and I'm glad that I can help you rest a little bit here. I mean, you can ask while he's streaming, but don't expect an answer from him anytime soon. All right, our personality trait numero uno is number 6. Number 1 is number 6. I get bitter if I'm not the center of attention. He kind of shares this. Again, if we could be a friend, it could just be a stranger. I mean, you can have 2 Vulcans on a starship, and it's fine. They might have never even met each other. But we just have 2 Vulcans. It works. But that does kind of match up with the personality of Sidaria here. And personality trait number 8, I change my mood or my mind as quickly as I change key in a song. Or in this case, another appropriate... well, I guess change song, and he's an instrumentalist. So there we go. So his trait is he's an ordinary paladin. Pay attention to me. I'm supposed to rescue you and tell you you're making mistakes. All right, his ideal is beauty. When I perform, I make the world better than it was. Aww. His bond is number 5. People. I like seeing the smiles on people's faces when I perform. That's all that matters. You know what? This is our 3rd character of 3 that has had people and this general sentiment as a bond. I like it. It works. And his flaw, number 5. I have trouble keeping my true feelings hidden. My sharp tongue lands me in trouble. My presence makes your day better. So he's not the cook, but he's Neelix from Voyager. So now, here we can decide. Is he the lover or is he the fighter? Do we want to keep him purely as an entertainer? Or do we want to make him a gladiator? Right? A gladiator is as much an entertainer as any minstrel or circus performer, trained to make the arts of combat into a spectacle the crowd can enjoy. This kind of flashy combat is your entertainer routine, though you might also have some skills as a tumbler or actor. Using your by popular demand feature, you can find a place to perform in any place that features combat for entertainment. perhaps a gladiatorial arena or secret pit fighting club. You can replace the musical instrument in your equipment package with an inexpensive but unusual weapon, such as a trident or net. Now, when we go to Unearthed Arcana, remember, as it's described here, not that there are not other duties that he can see to. The Quartermaster plots the ship's course, relying on knowledge of nautical charts and a study of weather and sea conditions. He might come across it. Look, he's a poet. What if he writes his coordinates for the captain in prose? Right? We already have a map maker who's the ship's medic, and it probably draws anatomy, and also takes those same concepts and draws maps. Or it was kind of the other way around. She's a guild merchant who's a map maker, a cartographer, and probably took up biology because she saw a lot of similarities. I feel this guy'd be better off as a musician due to how a morale booster he could be for the crew. If he's a gladiator, he'd leave the crew and viewers sore. That's fine. We'll keep him as an entertainer. So he's there's that episode of Next Gen, if any of you have watched Star Trek Next Generation, where Data gets drunk. I know, it's weird, right? It happened. And that's kind of coming to mind. Or there's the one in the movie where he gets the emotion chip and Data is, he sings the Life Form song. More of a Firefly guy? Well, so what? We would have kind of a Jane? Would he be kind of a Jane character to you, Funny? I've never watched an episode of Star Trek, not a single one. Well, Gilded, it's time to change that. So you have homework. I need you to watch Star Trek in chronological order, starting from the pilot episode of original series. And then when we meet tomorrow, you'll be good. Oh, Worf? Ah. Well, cop law to you. No, don't worry, El Eskimo. We're not. Don't worry. All right, so that is what we get for our base background. Now, I want to... Look, he's an officer on a ship. He's been doing this for a while, and I do want to take this moment to say that as a PC or a DM, there's nothing wrong with giving your players extra skills. I mean, if you give them all the skills, then that might take some of the challenge out of the game. What we're doing here is we're creating characters that are going to know a little bit more than what they would otherwise. We're making the presumption that they have spent years practicing, training, and earning this role on the ship, or being hired into it because they earn the role through other similar experience. As a DM, be open-minded. If you have a player that wants to train into perception and role plays through it, you don't need to wait for an ASI and for them to use their use a feat slot to take skilled. Pardon. Grant them the skill. And if you don't want to do it all at once, then you can say, all right, so you've been taking lookout every chance you get. You practice, you practice one thing or another. You're role-playing through it. You've been role-playing through it for months now in the campaign. In-game time and or out-of-game time. And so I'll tell you what. You've started this practice. Now just put a +1 into your into perception. So you're not proficient, but you're getting there. Keep role playing it. It goes up to a +2, and maybe you start doing this at a 3. Well, you level up, and now the proficiency is 4. But it should be flat enough that presumably over time, you can finally get it to the point where this discretionary bonus offered by the DM equals the proficiency, and at that point you could just say, congratulations, you have trained into this skill. So that's a presumption that we're making for what we're doing up here. Quartermaster. It is going to give us proficiency with Navigator's tools and the Nature skill. So let's pop over here. Nature and Navigator tools. If you want to do this a different way, you can say that he's an entertainer by personality, bond, flaw, and ideal. And instead of the other parts of the skills and tools that the background gives you, you could replace it with this. But I really don't see a problem in providing this on top of that. We have an officer. They're already standing above the common sailor. It's not going to make this isn't going to make your character hit harder, break the game by dealing more damage or avoiding more damage. At least not directly in combat. Anyway, so let's give him Nature, Navigator's tools, and the consideration. So if you want to consider this to be a payoff or a sort of a payback for granting this, we are going to keep our wisdom score, if not our highest, so it'll probably be our second highest considering we're rocking a Paladin. So I'm going to put an X here in wisdom. Our other Paladin was an int Paladin. To indicate that when we're doing our scores, his wisdom should be second highest. Oh, all right. Be well, funny. Thank you. You find the idea funny that the captain of the ship is just super not into the way the quartermaster is doing, and just pinches the bridge of his nose. Very good, funny. Yep. Be well. Be well. Pneumonica says navigational bearing from the character. We head for the Isle of Sarong, which lies off the coast of Milan, 2 points south by east, at 4 knots at least, and will end up where we belong. Gilded would then throw him overboard if he talked like that. He'd be a very interesting navigator, though. I like that, Pneumonica. Thank you for making the little poem on the fly there. At least it wasn't a bawdy limerick, huh? I'm not challenging you, but I'm sure you could do it. Now, let's pop over to elves and see what being an elf gets us. It is going to give us +2 in dexterity. So we're going to float that number here. We are going to get, we're already medium. We're going to get 35 feet. We're a wood elf. $17,0. We're going to get 60 feet of dark vision. We're going to get keen senses. We have proficiency in the perception skill. That'll come in handy for navigating, right? Fey ancestry. So we have advantages on versus being charmed, and we can't be magically put to sleep. And we can trance if we want to. We can leave our rests behind. Going back over to Wood Elf here, we are going to increase our wisdom by 1. You have proficiency with the longsword, shorts. Well, we're a paladin. That's not going to matter. Fleet of foot, we have already taken into consideration. Und then we get the Mask of the Wild. We can hide in natural areas, or if there's a natural phenomena, which would be really cool, right? You're being raided in the middle of the night, and it's like a foggy night on the ocean, or there's a storm brewing, and this guy wants to like sneak around on the tossing deck, but there's foam and there's sea and there's waves and everything. As a paladin, he would be able to do that more easily. Oh, Rhodey, that's cute. A bawdy navigational limerick challenge accepted. Look, Pneumonica, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that and probably, you know, like DM me the bawdy navigational limerick on Discord or something. I mean, come on, I didn't say that. I said it, but I didn't say it. In fact, many limericks, the whole point of limericks were marching songs and about getting to a destination, right? There once was a someone from somewhere, and so on and so forth. So it's in the spirit, right? We're keeping it cultural. We're learning about history, and it's my way to make up for the for the comment about Irish twins, whom I hold nothing against. We're just learning some colloquial lore and lingo. All right, that's what we get for being an elf. Now we're going to collapse this and bring back the Paladin. 16th level, here we go. 4, 3, 3, and 2. Our proficiency bonus is 5. We are a D10 hit die class, so let's fill that in. We're level 16, so wouldn't you know it, 16 D10 hit die are what we have to naturally recover during a short or long rest without having to use our magic. We are proficient in all armor and shields, and we are proficient in simple and martial weapons. Don't call them marital weapons because that could be something completely different. Our saving throws are wisdom and charisma. And we'll get to choose 2 skills from athletics, insight, intimidation, medicine, persuasion, and religion. Let's refer to his personality, right? What he does, you know, his skills are based on the things that he does and the way that he thinks, and therefore he's making these decisions. I get bitter if I'm not the center of attention. I change my mood or my mind as quickly as I change key in a song. When I perform, I make the world better than it was. I like seeing smiles on people's faces when I perform. I have trouble keeping my true feelings hidden. My sharp tongue lands me in trouble. Kinda sounds like intimidation could be in order. He is a poet. He's a fire eater and an instrumentalist. Center of attention. I wonder if athletics would be good for him. Athletics and intimidation. The limerick packs the limerick packs laughs anatomical into space that is quite economical. But the good ones I've seen so seldom are clean, and the clean ones so seldom are comical. I like that. Nadpoo, welcome. We're creating safe for work limericks, I guess. You know, there once was a man from the sticks who used to like writing limericks, but he failed at the sport. He wrote them too short. Okay, now let's choose his. Let's go athletics and intimidation. A martial weapon and a shield, or 2 martial weapons. Well, he is defense style. Hey, Delcorin! Claws his way out of West Virginia to say hello. That's true. Delcorin, while he's a neighbor to me in Pennsylvania, is a double neighbor to me in West Virginia also. And yet, I'm the one that lives close-ish to a nuclear power plant. Humph. Let's see. We could have him go weapon and shield. I kind of wonder, though, if he wouldn't benefit from having maybe polearm mastery or something, right? He already gets a little bit more AC out of his armor from his defensive style. That could be fun, depending on his feat. But, of course, we could make him... we could give him kind of the actor, an increase for his charisma. That could be fun as well. Oh, yeah, by the way, Nadpoo, I saw you were working with Rhodey. Thank you so much. That was awesome of you. Got to do my part to reestablish humanity, says Delcorin. 2 martial weapons. You know what? Let's do this. Let's give him a... If he is the Quartermaster, so, I mean, he can hand out weapons and such. We'll make him have a... Ooh. I know a lot more names than there's actually weapons for in this. Glaive, Great Axe, Halberd. Let's give him... Ooh, a trident would be fun. He can also wield it two-handed if you wanted. And he can use a shield, too. I mean, look, at level 16, if you're generating a character at 16, he's probably going to have a shield regardless of his starting package. Hashtag real talk. If we're going by what the book is offering, then, this is what he'd have. A trident would be fun. Let's give him a trident. It's thematic. He has some humor and personality. And then we'll give him a... I guess we'll give him a glaive. Alright, let's go back to classes. Go back to Paladin. And continue. 5 javelins are a simple melee weapon. He speaks softly, but he carries a big stick. Let's give him a great club. Right? Sailors get belaying pins that count as clubs. We're going to give him a great club. That's a simple weapon. A priest pack or an explorer's pack? Well, he's more of the performer. He has a costume. Now, I'm not saying that his faith or, in his oaths is hollow. But I think there's going to be more in a priest's pack that he can draw upon for his entertainment or for his own personal expression, right? When you vow the Oath of the Ancients, you're siding with the forces of life and light. So he is a bon vivant. Oh, if I say so myself. And I do. A great club, you mean an oar? Hey, there we go, Pneumonica, I love it. The Flumph has released you, so now you have both hands available, Rhodey. Pneumonica says, while we're doing some calculations, a dozen, a gross, and a score, plus 3 times the square root of 4, divided by 7, plus 5 times 11, is 9 squared and not a bit more. Pneumonica is the spirit animal of this paladin. Because this is, given the description of the Quartermaster and the duties, and the type of character we're generating, this is the stuff that the captain is going to find written on his navigational charts. And probably some musical notes and other accompaniment. Some accoutrements. To just the plain old... And you know what? He is making the charts that the other paladin draws by her profession. He's sprucing it up, right? She draws this, correct, everything is to scale, it has river depth and hill height and all, the species of trees and all this. And he's the guy who doodles the little, like, kraken in the corner. It says, "Here be monsters," because he thinks it's fun. And he's a fire eater, so you know what he's going to do? Perfectly good new map. He's going to take some fire and, like, kind of put it around the edges to make it look like an old map, even though it was just made, like, the day before. And then put it in front of the captain. "Captain, look what I found. It's an old treasure map." "You fool, this leads us back to our home port." "Aye, but it's old, Captain. Look at it." We're going to get chainmail. And we're going to get a holy symbol. In his own way, he could even sort of be a chaplain aboard the ship. "Coffee Cat, I am here to say hi before bed." Well, greetings to you. We are having pumpkin pie M&Ms and making safe for work limericks. That should otherwise be very bawdy in nature, Coffee Cat. "Clearly, Captain, thar be treasure here." "Captain, yeah, in the treasury. We're not raiding it." This character is very dynamic. I'm really loving this interaction. And, you know, this is going to have a play on the captain's personality too, right? We're defining the future characters by the slots these other ones are filling along the way. "This guy would be so annoying, but I would love him like a brother," says Rhodey. Nadpoo says it's called pizzazz. Captain might not like him putting pizzazz on all the maps, though. For extra effect, he puts that little, like a flame, like, in the middle of the map. Captain's like, "That was the... Why? That was the compass rose, Captain. Why would you remove the compass rose?" "Job security, Captain." He's the navigator, right? You know who this guy is? We're talking about Firefly? Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal. Huh? Huh? Safe work limericks remind me of Miss Susie. Miss Susie had a steamboat. The steamboat had a bell. Nadpoo character flaw likes to make all maps look old and tattered, especially by taking off a bit of flame on the edge. This might sometimes ruin a hidden message or secret on a map. Or he soaks it in tea, even though it's perfectly good vellum, or leather, or parchment, or papyrus, whatever. Alright. He's going to get a lot of class features here. Divine Sense. He is going to get a fighting style of defense. He is going to get lay on hands. And he at this level, he's going to have 80 because it's 5 times your level. He will get spell casting. We're going to worry about that in a little bit. He can Divine Smite. Spend his spell slots for extra damage. He will also get Divine Health. Extra attack. Aura of Protection. Aura of Courage. We're going to go up to Improved Divine Smite. At level 10. I'm sorry, level 11. And we'll also get Cleansing Touch. Now for his oaths. Oaths of the Ancient. So he'll have sworn the same oaths as the other character, but I think they'll play it off differently, which will be very interesting, and that can happen. Look, if you have two people who both want to be wizards, even if they both want to be evocation wizards in the same party, or they both want to be life clerics, be life clerics. Have redundancy, it's fine. Because there are still enough differences you can have. These characters, as we're showing, are going to be completely different in many ways from each other. How they go about handling a situation, their strategies in combat, their arms and armor, their roles aboard the ship, their personality conflicts, the things that they can do. Yes, we have two Wood Elf Oath of the Ancients Paladins. And especially with Paladins, on a ship that is a crew that has a big crew, having two Paladins radiating those auras are going to protect a lot of people and things. Are going to help bolster courage all around the ship in this 10-foot radius, this 10-foot radius aura around them. In this scenario, having two Paladins is really cool and is going to work out really well. Now, for all parties, it may not be, but don't, have an open mind. It's like when we made our almost all bard party, right? We made a band. 4 bards were guaranteed, and then a wild card at the end who kind of ended up being their manager. We had 4 different bards, and it was totally fine because they all did different things. They took different spells. They had different roles and different personalities and histories. You have 2 assassin rogues in my IRL group. We only have 4 people. Hey, and so they might coordinate. In fact, there's going to be probably a lot more strategy in order for them to maximize their their usefulness in combat, or their usefulness in scouting or getting information or the like. Yeah, never be afraid to have repetition like that. I'm pretty sure soaking vellum in tea while on a ship will get the person thrown off the ship. It's a waste of well, it's not paper technically, but it's a waste of paper and tea. Alrighty. Four, 3, 3, 2. We are going to have some oath spells. In fact, we can just do this. These two, depending on their personality traits, would work well together, but I don't know how well they'd work together. I mean, obviously they're going to have to if they're both officers on the ship. But, for them seeing each other as kind of opposites, like different sides of the same coin of the oath, that would make for some awesome roleplay dynamic at your table. Remember, these are your oath spells. These do not change day to day like your others. And they're sort of a permanent part of you here, unless you break your oath. So these do not count against the spells that you know. But they are still subject to available slots to cast through. Well, we know who's going to act first in that case, Delcorn, and maybe that's why it's intimidating. Oops. Oh, no. I ran out of power in my headphones. That's all right. That's why I have this. There we are. Okay, let's go back. Our archetype, or in this case our oath, is going to give us Channel Divinity. Our first one is Nature's Wrath. Really good for stopping people, right? You summon some spectral vines that tie them up. And then you have Turn the Faithless, which is good against Fae and Fiends. Not undead, but Fae and Fiends. We are going to also get an Aura of Warding. This is going to put in a lot of work, especially to help preserve a ship. You and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you have resistance to damage from spells. Isn't that lovely? Half damage from all spells. Hashtag just saying. Then we are getting Undying Sentinel. It's a focus sash in Pokemon terms. Well, in a sense. Coffee Cat, you're off to bed now? Be well, sir. Thank you for stopping by and saying hi. Delcorn says, nothing is safe. They'd steal my possessions, then steal my life. That's right. Your GP or your HP. Now, unlike the other Paladin, this one is only going to take 1 feat. So before we drop our standard array into his abilities, what would be the feat that he would take? Let's go to Chapter 6 and question ourselves. I want to say it'll be something off of Charisma. As an actor, I think that could be really good. Increase your Charisma by 1, and you can mimic the speech of another person. Or sounds of animals. I think that could be fun. Or Inspiring Leader. You inspire your companions, shoring up the resolve to fight. When you do, choose up to 6 friendly creatures. Each creature can gain temporary hit points equal to your level plus your Charisma modifier. Either of those could be a lot of fun. I want to give him... Well, I don't know, actor... He is entertainer, yes. We didn't roll that he was an actor. Otherwise, that would be a very easy pick. I think we still could. It does give him advantage in performance, but that's if we're disguising ourselves. He does have disguise kit proficiency. Maybe he does. What if he's kind of like what if he's like Hawkeye from MASH? You know, maybe he's not afraid to dress up like the other officers and you know, give orders or the like. That could be interesting. What if we did that, huh? Let's give him Actor, which will actually drop a 1 into his Charisma. Now, we are going to, we're also going to give him some stat bumps. Let's do that after we add in our racial and our feat modifiers to our ability scores here. Strength is important. You know, I see him very much as very charismatic. I want to give him a 15 in Charisma. Then, of course, because he is this navigator, and we said that we would give at least his second highest score to Wisdom, we'll do that. 15, 14, 13 Strength. Probably 12 Constitution. He's a Fire Eater. Beauty, people, I get bitter if I'm not the center of attention. I change my mood or mind as quickly. I have trouble keeping my true feelings hidden. I kind of want to give him a... just to be interesting, a higher dex. He is a performer as well. Let's do that. Let's give him a 10. And we're going to give his intelligence the 8. Now, remember, and don't be afraid to do this also, it's fine to have proficiency in a skill under which, you know, or is like under a low ability score, and therefore a modifier. So instead of just being generally intelligent about a breadth of topics, he's gonna be rather well informed about the 1 or 2 things, in this case 1, that he knows. Pardon me. Let's combine these together here. So that's going to be a 15 Wisdom, a 16 Charisma, a 12 Dexterity, and there we are. We get 2 more ability score improvements. And I think what we can do, let's round up. I mean, he is going to have to hit something at some point in time. Let's bring him up to a 14 strength, and we'll keep him very wise, and we'll bring him to a 16 wisdom. And to round it out, I kind of see his strength going up more. I could, well, you know, we could put it into charisma as well. Some of the stuff that he does, more of a caster paladin, would be interesting. And really, I guess this would come down to what's happening at the tabletop as you're leveling up. Have you been able to get away by being a casting paladin? It's interesting. And remember, too, look, we all cap at level 20. Your proficiency is going to give you a lot more mileage necessarily than your ability modifier. So it's okay to have an average ability modifier, especially if you want to fight intelligently or set up, you know, that you're getting proficiency or advantage in situations. That way you can have a more balanced character, and then you're providing your own bonuses by setting up certain scenarios, role-playing through it, and the like. So if we did that, I don't know, maybe... Let's just see what it looks like. Let's have an 18... we're going to give him a much higher charisma. He's going to have a lot more spells available. So he might be able to hold himself in a, you know, in a fight. Probably relies on others like Sidaria or Cincy or some of the other sailors, you know, to try and set up some kind of advantage. And of course, you know, at 19 we could pump him up to a 16 in strength and give him that. But let's roll with it, right? We're making characters. Yeah, he's still functional. You know, would you want to run this? Maybe. You know, being able to hit all the time is nice. How often do you overkill? If you have a DM that runs very tough encounters, very tough monsters, then yeah, you probably want to, you know, you probably want to dump a little bit more in strength in that case. But we're building someone who, you know, he's taking his oath as an expression, not as a test of one's mettle. M-E-T-T-L-E. If we do this, 4 charisma, 3 wisdom, -1 int, 1 con, 1 dex, 2 strength. Look at this paladin rolling around with a non-dex dump score. Alright, so we have a 2 and a 7. 1's for everything but acrobatics, which is 6. Constitution 1. Nature's going to be a +4, but everything else we're going to very discreetly copy and paste that's -1. Wisdom is going to be 8 save, 8 perception, and 3's down the line otherwise. And our charisma is going to be 9, 9, 9, 4, and 4. You're going to be heading to bed soon? All right, Nadpoo, thanks for coming by and chatting with us. And again, thank you for helping out Rhodey. Our initiative, hey, Paladin isn't going at Paladin speed. You actually get +1 instead of -1 or 0. Our armor class, we're in chainmail, but we don't have a shield. By 16, you probably have a shield. Rolling with it, we're at 16, which is actually a 17 because of our defensive fighting style. Passive perception is 18, 10 plus your perception modifier. That's his natural awareness of what's happening around him. This is going to be a very interesting party to stat out. Hit points. Oh, by the way, LARP and HARP, thank you very much for the follow. I hope that you're having fun. You're enjoying the character creation process. We're conceptualizing the officers of the crew here on the ship, and that you're having some fun. Well, Rhodey, you're a very popular destination then. Our current hit points, well, at level 1 you get all of your, you get the hit points for all of your hit die. So he's going to start with 10. Then for our remaining 15 levels, because he's level 16, half +1. You may have a DM that, oh, that's going to be a 6 actually. You may have a DM that will have you roll, or even offer you a reroll if you get a 1 or something. Talk to your DM about that. I recommend going half +1. It's in your favor as a PC, and it's what the PHB suggests also. If you're running a very hard campaign, though, as a DM, you might want to say, hey, just take max HP. You all are going to need it. Now, for all of our levels, all 16 of them, we're going to get bonus hit points equal to our Constitution modifier. So there we go. So this is going to be 15 times 6 is going to be 90. Plus 16 plus 10 is 116 hit points. For our strength-based weapons, that is going to be a plus 7, right? A 2 modifier plus our proficiency. I'm going to have to look up the damage here. Great Club is bludgeoning, Trident is piercing, and I think glaives were slashing because they're like pole axes. To attack with a spell, it's going to be, we cast off Charisma, so we're actually going to be attacking at a plus 9 with our magic. And our DC is going to be 17. To determine the difficulty class to reduce or avoid the results of your spells, just add 8 to whatever your attack bonus is. Hey, Volvo, welcome. It's good to see you. Now let's go to Chapter 5. You know what? Because he gets a token from an admirer. So not only can I look up real quick the stats of the weapons. Here we go. A glaive is 1d10 slashing. 1d10 plus 2. That is his strength modifier. A trident is 1d6 plus 2. And it does have a range. It can be thrown. And a great club, or an oar, is 1d8 plus 2. No cantrips, as we're a paladin, and we didn't take any feats to allow us to learn cantrips. He no longer is a set of stats, by the way, everyone. So if you have a name that you want to throw out for our male wood elf paladin Oath of the Ancients entertainer, who breathes fire, writes poetry, and is an instrumentalist, and is also the quartermaster of this ship, he has a very good attitude. I'm open to ideas. It's going very well, Volvo. You actually just kind of got a quick summary of this person. Lay on hands is 80. Spells prepared equals charisma modifier. So that's going to be 4 plus half of our paladin level. This paladin can prepare 12 spells, while the one that we made just before can only prepare 9. And remember, between long rests, you can split that up among all of your slots for which you can cast spells, on top of what you get from your oath. So you can split this up. And where this comes in handy also is you can smite more often, because you feed your smites spell slots. Rhodey, you say, or you want him to be the surgeon's annoying older brother? Monica, you want to call him Severian Firetongue. And so what, is Firetongue the family name? Or is that a name that he professes because it is a part of his entertainment routine? Think it's a by name? Let's roll his trinket, by the way, because this is going to tell part of his story. This was something that was given to him by an admirer. Now, whether he returns the affection, he's at least keeping it. We're going to roll a percentile. 85. Trinket number 85 is a diary with 7 missing pages. Ooh. Ooh, a lover's diary, perhaps? A little black book that he picked up along the way. And where did the pages go? Who was on them? What was on them? Adds to the character. But this is something that, well, I mean, it says that's it's a favor of an admirer, so he could have been handed it. You know, Dear Diary, today, oh, Firetongue. You know, the things that I wish that he would do to me. Oh, baby, etc., so forth. Like Lucy the Tall or Peter Blonde-Haired? Sure. Severian, Firetongue. And if we did want him to be an older brother to our other paladin here, then we can do so. Could make them cousins if you want to keep a familial relation. You could make them friends. They both grew up in the same village. They could even be rivals. There's nothing wrong with that. They could be ideological rivals. They get along otherwise, but they just do things in completely different ways. It's really nice though that by doing completely random number generation, we ended up getting this result. Because even though we did have repetition, what is this causing our minds to do as we want to square this up, right? It's inspiring us. If this happened, then let's make it so it was meant to happen. What's the relationship these two have, if any? Make it a little more unique by reversing the names. Firetongue, Severian. I do that with my story with Black Wolf Ezra. Yeah, we could call him. So he goes by. He's old Firetongue Severian here. Bada boom, huh? I like it. We are making some very interesting characters that would be fun to play on their own. But especially if we're thinking of these people as being in charge of aspects of a ship. And remember, for the rest of this week and next in our workshops, this is what we're going to be building up, right? We are going to be building up the crew of a ship. All right. The broadcast is not over yet. I'm going to get up and take another 10-minute break, refresh myself, stretch, get up and go around, and when we come back, we can talk about the 3 characters we've generated so far. We can discuss the Unearthed Arcana rules if you have questions about it. We can talk about aspects of the player's handbook. If you want to share stories, you can ask questions. It'll be open Q&A time. And we'll have a little bit of fun together, okay? Daniel, how about that Critical Role episode, eh? I wish I could tell you, Daniel. Kind of francophone order, which is also good. In this case, I guess his first name would be treated like an adjective that comes after the noun in Romantic languages. You don't have a red sweater, you have a sweater red. But you know what? Because English, and this is a book I recommend you all, English, Our Magnificent Bastard Tongue. I recommend you read that. It's awesome, and it shows just how flexible and what an interesting conglomeration of so many other languages we have in English, and why it's an absolute mess. All right, let's take 10 minutes, and we'll be right back, and we'll cruise for the evening, right?